the self-hatred that Westerners, people in the West carry is so destructive and so painful that they mistake teachers for gurus. Guru is not outside. Guru is not a body. Whatever being is in that body is the guru. It's not the body. When the body dies, the guru is still present, just like our own souls are still present when the body dies.
Before we jump into this episode, I'd love to invite you to join this candid spiritual community to hear more conversations that will help you become happier, healthier, and more healed. All I want you to do is click on that subscribe button because I love your support. I love seeing all the comments pouring through, all the love pouring through, and we're just getting started. I can't wait to go on this journey with you, whether you're a spiritual seeker or you're just curious about the topic. And we really hope that our conversations will provide you food for thought and inspiration for your own spiritual journey. So join us for honest, candid discussions about spirituality for soul's sake. Welcome to a special episode of For Soul's Sake, a conversation in which we bring you the best in wellness, the best in Bhakti, the best in spirituality, an honest conversation, a candid conversation, a conversation in which we wish to give you education, transformation, entertainment, all the buzzwords. And today I'm joined by the one, the only, an inspiration of mine from a very young age, Krishna Das. Thank you so much for being here. I don't think I need to say anything that needs to introduce you any further, but thank you.
Say we can also give people acid reflux. Really help.
I mean, I'm just deeply honored to be with you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Good to see you.
What are your thoughts on Bhakti Fest this year, coming back from COVID?
Very nice. They can only just turn the heat down a little bit. That would make it easier, but it's beautiful. It was very nice. Nice time.
God, if you're listening, turn the heat down a little bit. Indians don't even fare so well in this weather.
Yeah, especially because I'm doing a workshop later in the middle of the day.
Wow. Well, let's see what happens. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about where you're at in your kirtan journey right now. What's alive for you in your chanting? What do you feel inspired by when you chant?
You know, what inspires me the most is singing with people, chanting with people, and I'm pretty much touring all the time. Yeah. When I'm home, I sing to my stuff, but otherwise I'm on the road with people. That's the thing I love the most, sharing that space. Because first of all, it's my major practice, really, and you know, many years ago, my guru made me the pujari of a Devi temple, Vindhyavasini Durga Devi, Vaishnavi Devi, for a short time, in order to piss off his other devotees. So what I did was I was giving out the prasad, the Charanamrit. So what I'm doing now is that's exactly the same thing. Just it's in the shape, in the form of the name, but I'm still distributing. So that's the way I look at it, you know. And it's all His blessings. So blessings of the Lord.
Entering into this lifestyle myself and trying to do the circuits and do all the festivals across the world, it's no easy feat. And someone that's been doing it for so long can only be commended. It must be clear that you feel, I mean, from my perspective, it's a blessed life. I mean, you feel the blessings, you must be feeling blessed every day to be doing something like this.
Well, for me, it was either this or pumping gas. You know?
Oh, really?
It's probably my two options in life. So this has been great. Sure, it's a great blessing. And, you know, that by His grace, it's all by invitation. We don't have any PR. We don't have any agents. We don't. I could sing 3 times a day in a different city in every day of the year. Yeah, if I could. I mean, how wonderful is that? You know, it means you can't create that with your own mind. You know, it's all blessings, really.
Mm.
And I just try to keep up with it.
Yeah.
One of these days, you know, as they say, as one of my friends says, they're firing on our regiment. You know, it's like the other friend, Zen master friend of mine says, you know, we're working ourselves to the front of the line, you know, but I'll keep doing it as long as I can. That's for sure.
what are the challenges that you face doing it? Because it's almost a 365 affair. It's not something that's seasonal. As far as I know of your schedule, it's constant.
Yeah, but at this point in my life, really, that's all I do. So it's very simple. You sing, you pack, you travel, unpack. You sing, you pack, you travel, you unpack.
No challenges.
Like being in an ashram.
Yeah.
When I'm home, that's where the challenges are. You got to go to the doctors. You got to pay the bills. You got to clean the house. You got to do all that shit. But on the road, there's nothing. It's like being in a temple.
Wow.
The challenges, of course, come with traveling a little bit, but otherwise, it's just wonderful.
Do you have any words of advice for someone that is looking to live that kind of lifestyle, that yearns for that lifestyle, even is in that lifestyle currently and trying to navigate it?
Don't think you're doing it, because you're not. If you have the blessings to be able to chant the name by yourself or with other people, it's all blessings. It's all the grace of the saints. You allow it to happen through you. Don't be the doer. Don't identify with that. That's asking for trouble. And that's where the challenger would be, with our own egos, But if we just go with the flow and accept things as they come to us, where's the challenge? Challenge is just remaining present and open and available, with our hearts available.
That's one thing I really admire about you, is that from the perspective, you can maybe fill me in on what it's like living that, but from the external, when I'm watching your lifestyle and observing from all the things that I see that you're doing, is the simplicity with which you're doing it and the conviction that you feel that it's not that you're doing, it's not being in the doer mode. And I'm still yet to get to that point, because I feel that in the young, passionate, vibrant, well, I'd like to say vibrant, I'm starting to get some gray beard hairs, but in the younger life that I'm living, I'm finding it difficult to get to that point where I'm seeing that I'm not the doer, because it just feels...
You don't see it. It happens by grace.
Right.
You just keep repeating the name. That's your job. Your job is just to repeat the name and sing the name. It's not to manipulate your emotions or anybody else's emotions. It's not to get anybody else off. It's not even to get yourself off. You need to pay attention to the sound of the name. That's all that's required. From my point of view, there are other lineages that teach and share these practices in other ways. Fine. I just do it the way it developed for me naturally. My guru liked to hear the chanting, so we chanted. There was no, you didn't have to believe anything. There was nothing to join. We're human beings. We already joined. That's it. One family, and that's the story. So when the simplicity thing is just, like I said, it was either this or pumping gas. Very simple. Right. I share the practice the way I do the practice. I just simply try to stay with the sound of the name, and the name brings you deeper. The grace brings you deeper. You don't go deeper by your own effort. You go deeper by releasing your ambition and your anxiety and your greed for this or that. You greed for experiences. Ego can't do anything. But Ramana Maharshi said, who was a very great saint, he said, asking the ego or the mind to kill the mind is like asking the thief to be the policeman. There'll be a lot of investigation, but no arrest will ever be made.
I love that.
So that's why you sing, you chant, you just stay with the name. And it's really the name chanting us. We think we're doing it, but once we ripen more, as we ripen more, and more practice and more surrender, we start, it's because it's just thoughts that are coming. I'm doing this. The feeling of being the doer is just a thought. So the more time you spend with the name, the less thought comes. And then finally that thought doesn't come. And it's not like, oh, now I know I'm not the doer. No. It's just that the thought doesn't arise of being the doer, and you're just simply present. Because it's our expectations that cause the trouble. We think button, we'll push this button, then we'll have that experience, and then we'll understand this. No. The whole thing will disappear. Like clouds, they just disappear. And the sky shines. It's always there. So, but it's a ripening process, really. That's how I think about it. There are other ways of approaching it with visualization and understanding and learning and all that stuff. But, that's not me.
Keep it simple. Just the name.
It's good. If everybody has to use whatever they want and whatever appeals to somebody, that's the way you do it.
Not a one-size-fits-all model.
Yeah.
You spoke about Guru very briefly there and the grace of Guru. And we live in an age now where more and more people are refuting authoritative testimony, and even the word or the phrase, Guru is dead. And people are feeling that nowadays they've been betrayed so much by so many different teachers.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to see if you had any thoughts on people finding Guru, finding authoritative testimony, and that still being a valid process.
Well, there's a lot of ways to talk about that. But first of all, Guru is not outside. Guru is not a body. Whatever being is in that body is the Guru. It's not the body. When the body dies, the Guru is still present, just like our own souls are still present when the body dies. But a Guru knows what this is. The Guru is awake. The Guru is fully present, fully alive, fully one with the universe. So for the Guru, there's no identification with the body, but we identify with our bodies. So we see that body and we think that's the Guru. So Westerners the self-hatred that Westerners and people in the West carry is so destructive and so painful that they mistake teachers for gurus. Teachers are people who have desires like everybody else. They might have something to teach, but a guru doesn't teach. A guru might teach, but that's not really what the guru is transmitting. They're transmitting, just like the sun transmits its light to all, and some plants grow faster than others, some plants don't grow, but the transmission is always there. So the intellectual learning can possibly open us up to accepting and deepening it with that transmission, but it might not. It might just get us stuck in our heads. My guru he never taught. He said, love everyone, feed everyone, remember God. Simple. And we're still working on that. That's the hardest thing. But he did, and he spoke very rarely. He said, through the repetition of the name, everything is accomplished. And this is someone who knows what he's talking about. That's what he told us. Everything is accomplished. But if we really believe that, if I really believe that, I wouldn't be talking to you. I'd be in a closet repeating the name somewhere,
Right.
But that's the karma of the situation. That's the ripening process. Those karmas and those illusions and those beliefs in the wrong thing, they fade away, just like clouds dissipate as time goes on. If anybody requires you says you have to believe in me to join this group, run in the other direction as fast as you can.
That's a good discernment point.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. If you look in the mirror, there's your guru looking out of your eyes. In fact, when my guru did leave the body, I was very distraught. Because I was so attached to his body. Of course, I had felt him for years before I came to India, after I met Ram Dass. That's when I first felt Maharaj's presence in Kuroli Baba. But when I saw him, first time I saw him, I went like, I've been feeling him everywhere with me, like this, everywhere. And I looked at this body and I thought, how does that all fit in there? I'm just like, I don't get this. It was like a freak your ground switch. It was like, but as time went on, I became more and more attached to the body and being with him. And he kept me there for a long time, kept me 2.5 years. and then he sent me away. But it had to be. I needed to get attached to that in order to let go of other attachments. And he knew what he was doing with me. He was running the show, of course. So, but the thing is, for most Westerners, we don't believe in ourselves. So we're always looking to believe in somebody else, something outside of us. Because we love ourselves. We hate ourselves. We judge ourselves. We don't feel worthy of love. So we're looking for somebody to tell us we're okay and pat us on the head. And so we're willing to sell ourselves out for anybody who would just, give us a little attention. And that's why the situation is what it is. The guru, God and self, capital S self, are not different. And that's what it says that everywhere, all the shastras and all the books and everything. Guru, God and self, not different. But what is the real self? We don't know. What is God? We don't know. And what is Guru? We don't know. If we knew one thing, we would know everything. So it's sad that people feel that way. And of course, it's sad because it means they're not going to find what they're really looking for. Not that they have to join anything, but people have to learn to give themselves a break. They can't depend on other people like that. Or anybody who sets himself up as a teacher better know what they're talking about, because they're in for a lot of trouble.
Yeah, there was one instance where I remember I was in India, and my spiritual teacher was sitting in front of me, and he was addressing a kind of a queue system of people that had come to just address and to speak with him to get different advices. And he turns around to me and my friend that was sitting together, we were assistants and serving. And he turns around and says, "I pray this life never comes for you." Because and I read so much into that. I was thinking about that so much, but I was like, oh, but isn't it good, like, to serve in this way? I think that the point he was making was, it's a responsibility. It's not to be taken lightly.
That's true. That's true. Is that our friend? My friend you're talking about?
A friend.
He's so wonderful. He's so great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the idea of responsibility it's on one hand, I understand what he's saying, because I know him and I know how he feels and how virtuous he is and how much he cares about other people. And my responsibility is to give myself to the practice as much as I can when I'm with people, when I'm singing with people.
Yeah.
And I don't feel, I don't see myself as a teacher or a guru or anything like that. I totally refuse to even go there, which makes my life a lot simpler. And people always write me, "Well, I want to join your group." What group? Well, you want to come watch TV with me? Come on, yeah, it's okay. That's the only group I got. Really, I don't. That saves me from a lot of bullshit, which I don't want to deal with. But at the same time, I really do give myself fully to what I'm doing, as fully as I can. So it's 3% of my usual 2%.
I loved what you spoke about, the guru being within the Chaitya guru, the inner teacher. And I think that so much of the life in which we live in the Western world is an influence on top of an influence on top of an influence. It's so difficult to hear that inner voice, the inner intuition, the inner knowing. Where would someone start to try and hear that more?
Yeah, but the problem is we don't trust ourselves. For me, I always tell people I think the whole spiritual path is learning to trust yourself, because it's within us that all those openings are going to happen, that all that awareness, that all that love has to arise within us. And that's where if you have it, where do you feel the love? Over there? No, you feel it in here, in our own hearts. But because we don't trust ourselves, we don't allow those experiences to manifest, and we don't trust other people either. Because when you really trust yourself, then what other people do doesn't really affect you that much, whether they like you or they don't like you. You know you're doing what you should be doing, They don't like it, fine, don't come.
Yeah.
Come on from me. You know? There was a woman in Germany who we're doing this workshop. Said, I don't understand so much English. Could you? You know, I said, look, here's a free pass to the concert. Come tomorrow. See you later. Yeah. It was funny.
I mean, this trusting ourselves, trusting others is a big thing. Like, I'm certain I'll probably get heat for even doing this interview because there's so many different people of different traditions saying that, you know, that no, stay within your own cult and your own clans and your own tribes. And
hey, my name is Krishna Das.
yeah,
I know you probably will, but that's okay. They're allowed to be stupid if they're
right.
how to read it.
I love that. I wish I was old enough to be able to get away with saying that too.
Yeah, I'm old enough.
No, that's not what I meant.
For sure. I'm definitely old enough to get away with stuff, no problem. Yeah.
How do you think it's necessary that there be different groups and different traditions and, you know, or do you think that the vision for the future should be that we unite or only certain people will get it?
The future is really big. Time is huge.
Right.
This is one little blip, one moment, and in an infinite space, vast space. Ultimately, of course, there's only one of us in the universe. That's the true self, the true being. But everybody has their own path. Everybody has their own karmic configuration. Everybody has their own stuff to live through. It's perfectly fine that there's all these different lineages, all these ways to be in that love and find that love. Of course, it's okay. And, you know, also they do say that these are the dark ages. This is the Kali Yuga, the dark ages where the light is buried very deeply. As a result, people hate each other.
Yeah.
People fight in the name of love. People kill each other.
In the name of love. Yeah.
What to do? You know, all we can do is clean our rooms, clean our hearts, and be the best human beings we can. And in order to do that, one has to do spiritual practice. That's the only thing that's going to save us. Whatever that means to you, whatever that means to you, whatever it means to you. Nobody can tell you what to do. And if they do tell you, and you believe it, are you believing them, or are you believing what you feel? You're believing what you feel. Another person might tell you the same words, and you might not believe it. That doesn't sound right. Another person says, yeah, that sounds right. It's in here. So that little bit of self-trust that we have is what needs to be nurtured and fed like a fire that needs more wood. You have to keep giving it, you know, fuel. And that fuel is devotion. The fuel is the repetition of the name. That fuel is letting go of our self-importance and treating other people the way we would like to be treated. That to have the strength to do that that's a big thing. And that's what it comes down to, you know, for humans, for us human beings. Why would you be bad to your foot? You know, we're part of one body, the body of God. Why would we treat another person poorly? We do because we treat ourselves that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit of everything.
Bhakti Swami, who's a dear teacher of mine, he has this one line where he says, treat others as though your spiritual life depends upon it.
Right.
And treat each person as though your spiritual life depends upon it. And I mean, that's a big message and something that, you know, it's going to take lifetimes to try and understand and perfect. But the principle is that, you know, we are different. We are individual in living in this world. And in that sense, we have to accept that not everyone's going to see eye to eye, and not everyone's going to take kirtan as the process, and not everyone's going to take chanting as the
People
process.
might not see eye to eye, but given the opportunity, they'll see heart to heart.
Wow.
You know, when you're coming from your real heart, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different. But eye to eye, it's a big problem. Heart to heart, it's not such a problem. Because when you allow somebody to be who they are, the pressure's off of them to please you, to be who you need them to be in daily life, right? So you let people be who they are. They don't like you, fine, that's okay. At some point you begin to see that what other people think of you has nothing to do with you at all. It's just their version. We're all seeing our own version of stuff all the time. So as we go deeper through the name and with devotion and surrender, that subjectivity starts to fade, get more transparent. And then we see things differently. We see people as if your whole spiritual practice depended on it, because we will see Krishna everywhere. We'll see Ram. But these times are very difficult. There's so much pressure, so much violence, so much fear. It's very hard. Any little bit of practice you can do in this life at this time is really incredible.
Yeah.
Because we're planting seeds.
Yeah.
Every repetition of the name is a seed. It may not grow right now.
Right.
But you just keep planting, and sooner or later, all those seeds will grow.
I mean, it's this, I have a vow to chant 16 rounds of japamala every single day. And that's why I vowed to my spiritual teacher. It's a vow that I keep, try my best to keep. I don't always succeed, but I'm trying my best. And I think that whenever I consider the modern human being, I just think, how is anyone going to take to that practice?
Yeah.
And so I just really, really value when someone chants just one name. And I mean, I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but what I really appreciate about you is I think that you have that same mood where you appreciate people. And another thing I appreciate about you is that you have this authenticity, that you are what you are on the tin. There's no, flashiness behind it. The same person I met on email, then I'm meeting in person. I just get that same vibe or energy, just being, in that authentic space. How do people find a life of authenticity away from trying to be other people, trying to be other people perfectly in their versions of reality?
You just make mistakes, that's all.
Make mistakes.
You have to go for it.
Yeah.
If you don't go for it, you don't get anything. So you go for it, and then you find this is not it. Go for something else. But the idea is you have to do it. You have to go for it. You have to go after what you want in life. And what you want in life, you might think it's this, you might think it's that. And once you get that, you realize it isn't. So you have to find the next thing. Eventually, you find what your thing is, what it is for you. And but if you don't, many years ago, we were up at this commune in the mountains of New Mexico. This would be even before going to India. So it was like 1960.
Oh, before meeting Nimkaroli.
Yeah, before meeting Maharaj. So we heard that there was this artist from New York who lived down the mountain a little bit, who had been to India and knew how to meditate. Whoa, somebody who knows how to meditate. Wow. So a few of us went down to see him. We spent the afternoon talking with him, and I was kind of just sitting in the back of the room, quiet, listening. So as a result, I was the last one out the door. So as I'm walking out the door, he grabbed my arm, and he looked at me and said, you have to find out why it is you can't give yourself 100% to whatever you are doing. I could still feel his hand over there. He nailed me. He knew how he knew. This was my biggest hurdle. This is like the biggest problem I had in life. I could never really, no matter what I was doing, there was always like judging, evaluating, holding back. There's always mental stuff going on. I could never get into it. It was amazing. And that stayed with me. That question, that awareness, that it stayed with me from that moment to this moment. I always checking. When I'm thinking, I check. Am I really doing it? When I'm really doing it, of course, there's no checking. But when I'm not doing it, I notice, and then I can get back into it. And of course, when I heard chanting the first time in India, boom, this is it. I said, I can do this.
Wow.
This is what I know I can do this. This is what I want to do. So I just started, wherever anybody was chanting, I just went and sat there. And it's been a long process. Yeah, so many meltdowns, breakdowns. But life just has a way of beating the shit out of you.
Yeah.
But you survive and you keep going. Your core, your heart is never really destroyed. There might be a lot of shadow on it. There might be a lot of pain. There might be a lot of despair and longing, but it's never destroyed. And in fact, the longing is the grace.
Mm.
The longing, the longing is how human beings experience being pulled into their own hearts. We experience it as longing for something, but really we're being pulled in, and that's the saving grace. Of course, on the other hand, it ruins your fucking life.
Yeah.
Nothing is enough.
Yeah.
And that's a blessing.
Mm.
That's a blessing, because to recognize that nothing out there will ever be enough, that's a wonderful thing.
Mm.
My work for 10 minutes, my work for a year, we'd be very unlucky if it worked for like 30 years, because then we wasted our lives.
Trial and error for 10 years. Hopefully something comes from
How
it.
about trial and error for 70 years?
Personal question. I've got a family, 2 kids. As far as I know, doing this in solitude. You don't have a personal assistant that's sitting in the other room. You've been doing this on a solo mission to chant, and I admire that so much. Does it get lonely? Do you feel the need for a family or a system always around?
My daughter's 42, I think. She pays all my bills, takes care of the house when I'm gone.
Incredible.
She sings with me every once in a while. She's wonderful. And I have Nina Rao, who sings so beautifully. She's my assistant. I always joke I work for her. We plan the schedule together, and she and Serena, her sister, work it all out. No, there's a support group. Definitely. I could never, in the old days, I would be on tour. I'd come home, and then I'd spend the next month dealing with, in those days there was no email, so it was phone calls and faxes.
Wow.
All around the world, so I'd be up at 3 a.m. to get a phone call from somewhere. By the time I was ready to go out on tour, I was a wreck. So things just developed, and then, so now there's a very nice, incredible group of people helping me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, ultimately, on the other hand, we're all alone. But not lonely. How can you be lonely? I once wrote a song about my guru. It said, "How can I miss you when you won't go away?"
Yeah.
It's like, but I'm married. I'm married now.
I mean, I still, sometimes I long for just to be with my family more. I think that's something I'm still getting to grips with, because in the last couple of years, things have kind of grown, and it's taken to the point where I'm traveling a lot more, which is nice. I enjoy it. It's my dharma. I feel very satisfied. But I think the sacrifice that I'm being away from my children is something that's taking its toll. And I have to kind of just balance that. And I thought, well, I'm not going to get this opportunity often to be with KD, so let me ask him how he does it.
I wasn't singing. I didn't start singing until I was with people this way, until I was 47.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
47.
When I came back from India.
By that point, your daughter was older?
My daughter was born. Let me go back. So I didn't start singing early, while my daughter was born, and I had a family. I wasn't traveling.
You're at home.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I was traveling, but I was more at home in some ways.
Gotcha.
But yeah. Well, you have to find, once again, nobody can tell you what to do. You have to listen to your heart and find what works for you. You don't want your children to suffer. You want them to grow up in a good way.
Yeah.
So, and you have to examine your motivation for being on the road. Is this, really coming from the heart, or should you spend more time at home and do something else? We're all totally free to follow our hearts. Most of us don't really know what that means, but that's the most important thing. If you're not at ease doing what you're doing this way, there might be something else, some adjustments you should make.
Yeah.
You should be at ease with your life as best as possible in a world where there's very little ease.
Yeah.
Of course, you can only do so much.
I've kind of just taken it to a point where I don't believe in balance. I don't think there's such a thing as balance. I think that you just kind of take each day as it comes, or each week, each month you assess it and say, okay, well, what is the best possible means of trying to make it balance, but it never really does balance.
Yeah,
And
it's a
so
concept.
it's just a concept, right?
You do the best you can. You can't, and we are doing the best we can all the time, and so is everybody else. If they could do better, they would. If we could do better, we would. Better in the sense of being more kind, more compassionate, more open, more present, more in the flow. But, you just do the best you can.
I wanted to ask, do you keep a finger on the pulse about the future of kirtan and the culture of kirtan going into the future? And do you have a vision for it? Do you feel like this is how it should be into the future? Do you have a desire for how it should kind of propagate going forward for the next 50 years, 100 years?
I don't know what's going to happen. And what are you kidding? Every time I sit down, it's a new experience. I have no idea. I never think about that. That's above my pay grade.
Wow.
That's for somebody else to worry about. Who knows? Nobody knows what's going to happen. Somebody could push a button and the whole world could blow up now. So our job is to do the best we can each moment. Future is the future. The present is all we have. Present is the only thing we could possibly have a vote in. The past is already done. Future's not here. How do we live now? So how we live now will have a lot to do with what happens in the future, but still it has to do with now. What seeds are we planting now? If we're worried about the future, if we're projecting about, we think that kirtan should be this way, in 20 years from now. In 20 years from now, there might be no humans left. We don't know. We have now. That's all we have. And most of us don't even have a vote now. How we feel, because we live in reaction mode all the time to everything. So we don't even have a vote over our own feelings. Let's get that. Let's get it, so we can be more kind, more compassionate, more loving, so we can be closer to the one. But for that, we have to let go of a lot of stuff. It's not easy.
This has been an incredible conversation. I really enjoyed it. I want to close off with some quick fire questions. You up for doing that? One word, one sentence.
Brain doesn't work very fast, but
Don't worry.
fire away and knock me out,
Question number one. What's something you're curious about right now in your life?
in my life. How the sound check's going to go for the workshop. That's about as far as I can project.
Wow.
When will I see my guru again? That's the most thing I'm curious about. That's the biggest question I have that I live with.
What's something you're personally working through at the moment in your life?
Personally,
Working through?
Physical issues. I'm 70, what am I now? 76.
Seriously?
So, things don't work quite the way they used to. And the knees don't quite do what they used to do. So just working, trying to stay healthy so I can keep doing this. And that's really the main thing. Trying to stay healthy. And looking for Cheerios in every country I go to.
Cheerios? Oh, wow. I should have brought you a box of Cheerios. Next time we meet, I'll bring you a box of Cheerios from London.
London, yeah, okay. English Cheerios, okay.
Okay, not that good, huh?
Icelandic Cheerios are very good.
Really? What makes them good?
They use different ingredients in different countries. Like some of the things that they use here are not, they don't use in other countries. Slightly different taste.
Icelandic Cheerios. You heard it here first. If you get a box, please send it to both of us. I'd really like to try it.
You send it to him, don't send it to me.
I'll send them to him from my side. I don't think I can use that many box of Cheerios. Question number 3. In short, what legacy would you like to leave behind in this world?
Rama.
Next question. Question number 4. Something you used to deeply value in your life, but don't value as much anymore.
Any. I don't know. Something that used to deeply value in my life. You know, I couldn't make up this life I'm living. I saw this psychic many, many years ago. And he said to me, "Oh, someday you're going to be able to do what you want to do." And at that point I thought, what is he talking about? You know, because I was doing all these things, my family, I was having to take care of the family and make money and do all this shit. And but here it is. So from this point of view, there's nothing I lack. There's nothing I wish I had. There's nothing I need that I don't have except a new body, you know. Well, I wish I could complain more.
And final question, if you could create one law
Law?
that everyone had to follow, what would it be?
Where do you start? You know, the first thing I would say was that the law that everybody should treat everybody else the way they want to be treated. But they can't do that. You can't make people do that. First, they have to treat themselves the way they want to be treated, really. And people can't do that, so how can they do it? So if there was one law, you know, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If we can do that, what a different world it would be. Like that. And so all the practices we do, all the things we believe, all the lineages, it's all about getting to that place where we're all living inside of, we're all aware of living inside of that love that is God. So
That for me personally it touches a nerve, because when I was a child, in the UK we have these things called assemblies at the beginning of a school day where we sing hymns. I don't know if they still do it anymore. You know, countries are becoming more and more secular.
we're Christian soldiers, like that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I was brought up in a Hindu background and I didn't really have any practice with sadhana, but that was kind of like my sadhana. Like I would go and all the other kids would just mime or really not be interested, but I used to like it. And there was this one song I remember that used to sing about treating others as though you wish to be treated. And it was one of those life mottos that it's kind of, how to say, it's scorched into the heart. It's there. I still appreciate it.
Cool.
And people treat me. So that personally touched the nerve. Thank you for reiterating that. I back the law. I vote for the law, if that's allowed. Thank you so much for your time, for your presence, for your
pleasure.
for being so kind upon me and this wonderful podcast to share your time. And for each and every one of you that's been listening and watching, I hope that there's been value for you. In fact, I don't even hope, I know there will be value. Please drop us a comment, send us a question, send us some thoughts on what your reflections were from what Krishna Das shared in this wonderful episode. And please share this conversation further. Share it with a friend, a colleague, share it with your neighbor, share it with the dog down the road, whoever will listen, anyone that's going to lend an ear, because these conversations are truly, in my opinion, and I think many people who are listening to this podcast feeling that this is a conversation that can transform people's lives. There's so many practices that are shared on these conversations that I think will really help to transform your life for the better. And so with that, having said that, thank you all so much for watching and being with us today. See you on the next episode of For Soul's Sake. Haribol.
If you loved this episode, you'll absolutely love my interview with Londrell on finding God in the present, being here, being now. Go check it out.
The best advice to be here, be now. It's like it's all here and you can't escape it.
Yeah, right.
The worst advice is be here, be now. It's all here and you can't escape it. And so you take the good with the bad and just be here. At the end of the day, just be here. It works both ways.
Yeah.
But it works for the greater good.
Beautiful.